Welcome to Stories Junction. Let's get started with today's story. Leah dropped the announcement while wiping crumbs from the counter, her tone so casual it barely fit the words. I'm taking a 5-day wellness retreat next week, she said, folding the towel with practiced neatness.
All women.
I just need to reset.
No lead up. No question.
Just a statement tossed into the air like it belonged there. Next week. I leaned against the fridge. We've got the solar panel inspection Monday. You said you wanted to be there with me. They'll manage, she said with a dismissive flick of her wrist. You're good with that stuff.
I am, I said slowly.
But I thought we were doing it together. She was already reaching for her phone. Pick whatever model you like. Panels aren't exactly sentimental. Her thumb danced across her screen like the conversation had ended. And maybe to her it had. Something in the room shifted, small but sharp.
Too calm. Too distant. Who's going?
I asked. Just the girls, she said lightly. Depends who can take time off. I nodded as if that made perfect sense.
A girls' retreat, I repeated. She flashed a quick smile, a grin that didn't reach her eyes. Don't start.
I'm not starting anything, I said. You deserve a break.
That startled her.
For a moment, she looked like she wasn't sure how to respond, like she expected a fight and wasn't sure what to do without one. Well, thanks, she said. Space is healthy. Her smile stretched, this time with relief.
And something else.
Satisfaction. Exactly. Then take your space, I said, voice steady. That was the first red flag.
Not the retreat.
Not the secrecy. The relief on her face when I didn't push back. After she went upstairs, I stayed in the quiet kitchen, replaying her tone, her sudden softness. If she was testing boundaries, I'd let her stretch the line as far as she wanted. This wasn't about a retreat. This was about seeing what she could slide past me. And I was going to let her think she could sail free, just long enough to watch what surfaced. The week leading up to her trip felt like a rehearsal for something bigger. Leah started coming home later, speaking faster, saying less. One night she walked in smelling like a new fragrance I'd never noticed. Don't wait up next week, she said, tossing her shoes off. Retreat centers out in the mountains. Reception spotty. Good to know, I said without looking away from the TV.
You booked the flight? She paused, too long. Working on it.
Riley's handling the logistics.
Riley? I asked.
The same Riley who gets motion sick on escalators? She's fine now, Leah said quickly. And don't start acting suspicious.
I'm not, I said. Just surprised. Her phone buzzed on the counter.
She flipped it over, face down. Work stuff. Sure it was. That night I couldn't sleep, not from jealousy, but from clarity. Leah was testing distance, and I was finally paying attention. The next morning, I moved a portion of our joint savings into a dual signature account.
Not hidden, just smart.
Then I printed a simple spreadsheet titled Travel Month Budget Plan.
Bills.
Groceries.
Her trip allowance.
All laid out cleanly. When she saw it stuck to the fridge an hour later, she frowned. This feels controlling. It's math, I said, sipping my coffee. Numbers don't lie. Darren's wife doesn't do this.
I'm not Darren, I replied.
Different roof, different rules. That ended the discussion, at least for her. Later that afternoon, I stopped by the gym. And there was Riley tying her shoes. So you taking Leah away from us next week? I joked. She froze. What? The wellness retreat, I said. She said you planned it?
Riley blinked twice. Too fast. Oh. Right. Yeah. That thing.
If I get the time off. Her voice wobbled. Make sure you send her the itinerary, I said lightly. She keeps forgetting. Riley gave a stiff nod, then looked away. That was more than enough. The truth wasn't on a retreat, it was right here, tripping over its own story. And I hadn't even started looking yet. 2 nights before her supposed trip, Leah finally sent what she called the itinerary. It wasn't an itinerary. It was a glossy PDF brochure filled with stock photos of women doing yoga on cliffs, sipping smoothies, and journaling under fairy lights.
No times. No flights. No hotel name. No group list.
Just marketing fluff. Looks nice, I said, scrolling with a neutral face. Where do you fly out from?
Denver. Too fast. Early morning.
Maybe I'll go the night before.
Or not.
We'll see. Just one question, I said calmly. She snapped, stop interrogating me.
One question, I repeated. She stormed off to shower, dropping her phone on the bed. I didn't touch it, I didn't have to. We shared a cloud account for receipts and billing. People forget what shared really means. I opened my laptop. There it was. A confirmation email from a travel site. Reservation, Leah Morin and Grant Whitfield. Mountain Spa Retreat Package. 1 King Suite. Candlelight dinner. Hot spring couples massage. Sunset horseback tour. Everything labeled for 2. My pulse didn't spike. My stomach didn't twist. It felt like reading a grocery receipt. Just numbers. Just facts. Within 40 minutes, I'd saved every document to an external drive, emailed copies to myself, and printed physical pages for good measure. Then I logged into our bank accounts and froze every card that wasn't tied to essentials: mortgage, utilities, groceries. No drama. Just system maintenance. Next, I scheduled a locksmith for the next day and changed the safe pin. By dawn, I had the printouts tucked neatly in a manila folder. And at noon, I drove across town to a quiet cul-de-sac in Holly Ridge. The brick house at the end belonged to Helena Whitfield, Grant's wife. She answered the door in leggings and an oversized sweater, hair in a messy bun, suspicion in her eyes. "Yes?" she asked. "I'm Owen," I said, holding up the folder. "I think we share a problem." Her expression tightened. "What kind of problem?" "The kind that books a romantic suite for 2, I said, handing her the folder. She flipped through the pages, her breath catching on page 3. "Grant and Leah." "Both of them," I said. "This isn't a threat. Just information you deserve." Her hand trembled slightly. "Why tell me?" "Truth travels faster when 2 people carry it." She stepped back, nodding once, stunned. I left her porch without another word. By the time I got home, the locksmith was already waiting. He rekeyed every door, fast and quiet. When Leah came home that evening, her key didn't work. She tried again. Then again. Finally, she knocked. "What's going on?" she demanded. "Upgrading security," I said. "Old system was outdated." Her eyes narrowed. "Why?" "Because some things under this roof aren't as solid as they used to be." She threw her bag onto the bench. "What's that supposed to mean?" I gestured toward the kitchen table. The folder sat there like a small, silent bomb. "Open it." She picked it up, brows tightening as she flipped the first page. By page 2, her breathing changed. By page 3, she froze completely. "This isn't what it looks like," she whispered. "It looks like 2 people booking a romantic trip." "It's a work thing," she said quickly. "Grant booked it for the whole team." "Then show me the team." She had no answer. "I don't owe you an explanation for every email you dig through," she snapped. "We share that account," I said. "You put it there." "You're being cruel." "No," I said, voice steady. "I'm being clear." She swallowed hard. "So what now? You throwing me out?" "Not at all. Guest room's open." "I'll take the master." "You're punishing me." "I'm protecting myself. And the home I maintain." For a moment, she just stood there, anger, guilt, and fear flickering across her face. Finally, she grabbed her purse. "I'll stay at Lila's." "Great. Text me when you get there." She glared. "Why?" "Because until I file paperwork, I still prefer the people connected to this house to be safe." She didn't reply. Just left. The door closing didn't sound like revenge. It sounded like things finally settling into place. But I knew the silence wouldn't last. And I was right. By the next morning, the storm had already begun. The silence lasted less than 12 hours. By dawn, my phone was lighting up like a slot machine. Calls. Texts. Missed calls. More texts that I didn't open, a single one that I didn't need to. The truth had a way of sprinting once it finally got out of its cage. Mid-morning, HR had contacted Leah. Then Riley. Then the department head. Helena, Grant's wife, hadn't wasted a minute. She forwarded everything to HR, to Grant's boss, even to their corporate travel auditor. The retreat fantasy collapsed before Leah even packed a bag. Around noon, my phone buzzed again. Riley this time. I answered on speaker. "Are you happy now?" she snapped immediately. "Leah's a complete wreck. HR is tearing her apart. Helena sent those emails to half the office." "She lied," I said calmly. "You could have talked to her first." "I did." "She didn't like the conversation." Silence on her end. Then, in a smaller voice, "They suspended me too.
They think I helped orchestrate the trip. Did you? I asked. A pause, long and telling. Not like that. I didn't reply. Some truths didn't need commentary. 3 days passed. No Leah at the house. No attempts to come back. Just scattered texts, most of them short and frantic. Can we talk? Please. I need to explain that I waited until the 4th day before responding. Where? She suggested her sister's porch. Neutral ground. When I pulled up, Lila looked exhausted. She let me in with a nod, then disappeared like she wanted nothing to do with the conversation. Leah sat on the porch swing, hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. She looked different, smaller somehow. Like her certainty had evaporated. You look tired, I said. So do you, she replied softly. I didn't ask you here to fight. Good. I'm not here to fight either. She took a breath. The kind you take before ripping a bandage off. I canceled the trip, she said. It canceled itself, I replied. You just weren't updated yet. She winced. I made a mistake. I panicked. I just needed a break from everything. A break doesn't usually come with king suites and candlelight dinners. She slammed the mug down. You don't have to keep punishing me. I'm not punishing anyone, I said. I'm organizing what's left. Her voice cracked. So what now? I reached into my bag and slid a thin folder across the table. She stared at it like it might burn. What's this? Affair split. Property assessments. Account summaries. Divorce papers. No lawyers unless you want one. She blinked. You already filed? No. I wanted you to read it first. She leaned back, shaking her head slowly. You're just done. I'm done pretending this can be repaired, I said. Respect is the only thing we can still salvage. She stared at the folder for a long time. Then, do you hate me? No, I said. Hate takes effort. She swallowed, eyes shimmering. So that's it. That's it. She drew in a shaky breath. I'll sign them. Tomorrow's fine, I said, standing. You'll think clearer after sleep. I walked out into the crisp evening air without looking back. Behind me, I heard the porch swing creak as she slumped forward. By the end of that week, the signatures were done. The paperwork filed. The legal wheels turning. 4 months later, the divorce was finalized. But the fallout? That was just beginning, just not for me. In the weeks that followed, my days fell into a new rhythm. Quiet mornings. Work that gave shape to my hours. The solar installation business demanded precision, and that steadiness grounded me again. And then one bright afternoon I met Jessa. She owned the coffee shop 2 blocks from one of my job sites. I'd gone in to fix a faulty breaker. She paid me an espresso and warm conversation. No clipped answers, no inconsistent stories, no perfume meant to hide timelines. Just a woman who smiled with her whole face. Meanwhile, news of Leah's unraveling traveled without my help. Riley had been let go. Grant was facing an internal investigation. Helena filed for divorce. Their house went up for sale within the month. I never chased updates. The updates found me. One evening, Jessa stopped by with a box of pastries. I didn't know what you liked, she said, so I brought everything. I like all of this, I told her. She laughed, surprised by how sincerely I meant it. We sat on my porch, sharing pastries while the streetlights flickered on. No drama, no tension. Just peace. It didn't last long. Because 2 weeks later, on a quiet Thursday evening, I saw Leah's car roll slowly to the curb. She didn't get out right away, and when she finally did, she stood there holding a small envelope and her old house keys. Her world had fallen apart, and she was standing at the door of the one she'd tried to leave behind. Leah stood by the curb like someone debating whether to knock or run. Her shoulders hunched, clutching the envelope and house keys like they weighed more than guilt itself. I opened the door before she could lift her hand. Evening, I said. Her eyes flicked up, tired and red-rimmed. Hi. She walked toward me slowly, cautious, almost fragile. When she reached the steps, she held out the keys like they were burning her fingers. These don't belong to me anymore. I took them gently. Appreciate it. Her gaze drifted past me, scanning the house. The fresh paint on the door. The new lights. The clean yard. Everything in order. You've done a lot, she murmured. I like finished things, I said. She swallowed, throat tight. Do you think about us? I think about what I learned. Her eyes shimmered. Do you still hate me? I never hated you, I said. I just stopped volunteering for pain. The words hit her harder than anger ever could. She took a slow breath, steadying herself. I lost everything, Owen, she whispered. My job. Friends. Riley left town. Even Lila barely talks to me anymore. I told you the truth would surface, I said. It did. She blinked rapidly. Helena's divorcing grant. HR put me on a 3-month review. People look at me like I'm poison. I didn't answer. Some things didn't need commentary. Her voice dropped. There's really nothing left between us. Respect, I said. But that belongs to me now. She closed her eyes for a second, as if bracing for an impact that had already happened. When she spoke again, her voice was small. You really rebuilt everything, didn't you? I had to. You took what we had and tested it. I took what was left and made something solid. She stepped back, wiping her cheek quickly. Not crying, just trying not to. I'm glad you're okay, she whispered. I am, I said. She hesitated. Is there someone new? I didn't flinch. Yes. Leah's breath caught. Just a fraction, but enough to show she wasn't expecting that answer. She's kind, I said simply. And honest. And she didn't walk into my life looking for a loophole. Leah nodded slowly, like each word landed with a different weight. I hope you're happy, she finally said. I am, I replied. Finally. She turned back toward her car, pausing with her hand on the handle. I never meant to hurt you, she said, voice trembling. I know, I said. But that doesn't mean you didn't. For a moment she just stood there, silhouetted by the streetlight, small and defeated. Then she got in her car and drove away. No dramatic goodbye, no desperate plea. Just the quiet acceptance that the door she used to walk through freely was now closed, locked, and no longer hers. The air felt different when her taillights vanished. Lighter. Cleaner. Inside the house, the thermostat hummed softly. The walls felt steady. The future felt open. She had lied about the retreat. She thought she could slip past truth like it was optional. I let her believe that, just long enough for everything she'd hidden to find its way home, that I didn't raise my voice, that I didn't chase her, that I didn't make threats, I just stepped back and watched the tide come in. And carry everything with it. The sunrise over Porto Vermelho looked almost unreal, an orange haze brushing the rooftops, the ocean still dark beneath it. I stood on our small balcony, the place where Helena and I sometimes drank coffee together. Today, I was alone with a mug that had gone cold. Downstairs, I heard soft footsteps. Helena appeared in the doorway, hair tied back, eyes still red from last night. She clutched her phone like a lifeline. Lucas. I need you to hear me out, she said quietly. I've heard enough, I replied, not raising my voice. That was what seemed to scare her the most, that I was calm. She stepped closer. I wasn't lying to hurt you. I wasn't sneaking around with someone else. I went to my mother's because I truly thought she wasn't well. I panicked when you accused me, and I didn't answer because I was angry. Not because I was hiding something. I didn't interrupt. I wanted to see where honesty ended and excuses began. I talked to my mother this morning, she continued. She said she heard your messages. She also said she didn't want us to fall apart over a misunderstanding. Her voice cracked. Lucas, I'm not cheating on you. I exhaled slowly. Then tell me why your location showed you on Avenida Borges. Not anywhere near your mother's. She blinked, caught. Because I stopped at my aunt's apartment before going to my mom's. For 20 minutes. She needed help moving a piece of furniture. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd say I was stretching the truth. It wasn't a terrible excuse. But it wasn't perfect either. And the silence? I asked. The whole night. Because once I saw your messages accusing me of cheating, I froze. She looked at the floor. I felt judged before I could explain. A long, heavy moment passed between us. Finally, she reached into her pocket and held out her phone. Check everything. My calls. My messages. My routes. If you still think I'm lying after that, I'll accept whatever you decide. The offer surprised me. Helena hated handing over her privacy. Hated feeling watched. Yet here she was, practically begging me to take her phone. That I didn't grab it. I didn't even touch it. Instead, I looked at her, really looked at her. The nerves in her posture. The tremble in her fingers. The genuine fear of losing me. Maybe she had told the truth. Maybe she had told a half-truth. Maybe something between those two things was still hidden. But something inside me softened enough to say, I don't want your phone. I want transparency going forward. Real transparency. No more changing locations, no more second guesses. She nodded fiercely. You'll have it. I swear. We stood there for a quiet moment, both breathing a little easier. Was everything fixed? No, but the fire had stopped spreading long enough for us to talk instead of burn. Helena stepped closer and gently slid her fingers into mine. Can we start today differently? She whispered. Please. I didn't answer immediately. I just gave her hand a small squeeze at a beginning, not a solution. The kind you test carefully, step by step, hoping the ground holds.